accent which is just naked sometimes doesn't make sense, but an accent which is prepared with a little bit of a crescendo and then you come away gradually from it sometimes makes a lot of sense. So seems to make sense to my mind. Could you do that? Like start somewhere around here and see if you can bring out that F sharp. Yeah, you're going to communicate with the people out there that came to see you and listen to you. So if you wouldn't mind, even though you may not know this piece as well as you'd like to yet, and that's another subject too, is that we want to always try to work on memory as we're learning a piece. So what are some ways that you can work on memory like right now?
Take the first phrase and then just run it.
That's terrific. And then do it a certain amount of times until you feel confident. Everything on the beat. Now let's go to the second step and bring out that F sharp just a little bit more. Good. And I would classify that as bringing it out. You brought it out. You placed it on the beat first, and then you brought out the F sharp. But now can we go the third level of I think more of a graceful interpretation is prepare that accented F sharp. Prepare it with a little bit more of a hairpin towards it, and maybe a hairpin afterwards. Da da dum ba da 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 da. Good. Once more. Good. And don't delay. Don't slow down after you hit it. So the beat's still going. 1, 2. Good. All right, so then we go on. So we're going to try maybe a more of a logic approach. So I'll try to keep it all the same volume. Combine it just a little bit with volume, and then you get a good balance. Good. So you try that. Also work with the recording,
right?
And just stop and start the recording in these chunks of time, like loop it, and then play it, and then stop the recording, and then you try to play it, and then see if it matches. That's also a very effective way. My tongue is still but my lips are starting to come together. Good. One thing I noticed that's really good is that when you're working that way, you're beginning to roll in your lips, which forces you, or at least coming together with your lips. You should feel like you're gripping the mouthpiece. Things are coming together, not pulling apart from the mouthpiece. You shouldn't feel like things are stretching away from the mouthpiece.
Right.
Because when you stretch things, they break. We don't want to break things. We want to get things together and make the aperture smaller. Okay? That's our idea.
Right.
That's what we're hopefully trying to achieve. Keep it all within piano there. Da, 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 dee, da. Excellent. Okay, good. Make a little less emphasis on the individual swells and more emphasis on a continual line. So instead of going da dee da 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 dee da, so da da dee da dee da. So there's just a hint
right
of swell on the individual notes. but more of an emphasis on line.
The line.
Yeah. Let's go on to the next place. Good. And we're going to crescendo, because this is an appoggiatura beginning to a trill. On every one of these trills, we're going to slightly crescendo to it to give it a little shape to the line, right? Forget the fact that somebody might have said forte. It's not necessarily forte. It could be forte, but it doesn't have to be forte. The reason he put forte here is because he wants you to try to do an echo effect later on. Good. And the next place? Go to the downbeat. Like a violinist would do a nice downstroke. Boom! Or a cello player. This. Try slurring all the 16ths by 2s. Okay, good. And then bring out the main beats. If you have an 8th note before main beat, make that 8th note a detached light note. So, bum, 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 dum, da, da, dum, ba, da, dum, ba, da, dum, bum, bum. Even though that's beat 4, still play the and of 3 short. Dum, bum, bum, because it's disjunct motion. Be-a-da, da, da, bum, bum, be-a-da, bum, ba, ba, dee, yum, ba-dum. That make sense?
Can you repeat that?
So I'm going to put a little dot. The dot means don't play totally crisp tonguing, but light, separated, okay? These are all driving towards the downbeat. Da, 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 da. What are my 4 rules of trills that get you through most of your trills?
Start on the beat.
On the beat.
The note before, and start on the note that's above it.
Right, and most of the time we start on the note that's above the printed note.
Yeah.
And then the 3rd rule, maybe. There's 2 more rules.
So end it on time.
End it on time. There's 1 more rule.
And start slow and
Right.
end faster.
Right, exactly. Because the idea of a trill is that you set up tension and you increase the tension until it's resolved. And then you can relax. So the tension goes all the way to the downbeat. If we can think more half note, then that will tend to make the tempo go a little faster, but also help the piece feel faster, even if it's not in reality faster. 1. The main rule of thumb, when you have a 2-beat note, like a 2-note figure, it comes on the downbeat. In this case, it comes on beat 1. Ba, ba, bum, bum. This is strong weak. Like the word playing. You can make it playing or playing. Let's try it again from the top and see if we can go all the way down to the bottom again, keeping some of those things in mind. I might say some things as we go. Right. So, 3, 4, 1, 2. Good. That make sense? Mm-hmm. You try it. Good. Now, whatever you do in Baroque music, that fourth rule of the trills applies to almost everything in every music. Finish it on time. So, your swell, it can sound really swell, but it's not going to be so swell if it goes late and makes you late on the next note. Doesn't sound like much to me. In other words, let's just do it as an appoggiatura without any trill. See what I'm saying? You try that, just those two notes. Yes, that sounds really cool. Good. So you're slurring them 2 by 2, but instead of doing this, so that you have a space after every slur, instead of doing that, connect this, the second note of the slur to the first note of the next slur, so that it's a line. So you still have a line, yet you're slurring. And then occasionally, when you come to a big beat, you can emphasize that first note of the big beat, and yet keep your line going. See what I'm saying? All right, so you try it now. Do-wee, 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 do-wee. Yes, exactly. Now try emphasizing. Do-wee, 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 do-wee. Right. Now you might have a long one sometimes, like later in the piece you have a really long set of them. What about then trying to achieve kind of an arching dynamic like this? That's also something that works really well. Try that. Yeah. So, and you can't achieve it as well if you're putting too much space in between each slur. If you go do it, do it, do it, it's hard to get that arching, spinning out kind of feeling. All right? So fantastic. Now think of the big arching pattern. There, you can have the subtle details, but if I were just to sing as a singer, I would so there's an arching pattern. That was beautiful. It sounded really organic and vocal style. Did you ever take string techniques?
Yes.
You did? Okay. Did you ever do a down bow retake? Like you down bow, down bow, down bow, down bow.
No, but I understand.
Okay, so when you do that, there's a little bit of separation in between the notes because you have to retake. You have to go to the frog, go to the frog, go to the frog. So there's a little time lag from the tip to the frog, right? Because you have to pick it up and then put it down. So I think that figure sounds very violinistic, and I wonder if you can imitate that. Bop, 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 bop. They could also do it bop, 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 but the idea is to get that sound. Good. And then we're going to make a little, there's going to still be an overarching kind of dynamic. Bop, 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 bop. Great. Sounds perfect. Let's go on to the next place. Ba bum bum bum, ba bum bum bum, bum bum bum, bum 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 bum. And that's a real, honest to goodness mezzo da voce there. Good, and then you can embellish your mezzo da voce as you reach the peak. It would be an embellishment. A person of the 18th century would think of vibrato as something that you add to it as a little fancy thing, but not as a continuous thing. Having an overly edited piece of music is sometimes a hindrance to you, because you're forced to do what the editor wants you to do. Think of hemiola as a mixed meter, but the Baroque era, they didn't write mixed meter, so it's just kind of written in the old meter, but it's a mixed meter. Right? There's going to be a couple other things I'll talk about, but that'll have to wait until next week. Notice that it's going to be 3. Very light. There's a little space, but it's not overly aggressive. You don't put it too far down, because if you do, then you're putting too much pressure on the red part of your lip, which is a little bit more delicate. So that's why, yeah, you want to roll in your lips and bring the lips to the mouthpiece. Okay. It looks great. When I see you play, it looks great. Just be careful not to let it slip any further down. All right. Other than that, a couple of things stand out as fantastic. After playing a while, then you at W here. Yum bum bum. It's a beautiful sound.
Finally hit my stride.
Yes.
Right
Right.
there.
It feels good. It feels like it's not very full of effort, right? You sounded like it anyway. It's more of precision. Just make your aperture smaller, and then I think that's going to be a pathway which you are going to like very much. Yes, there are some high notes that say, like, play it forte or with an accent. But that's within the context.
He really nails those.
Well, but within the accent, can you do it softly? If you can do it softly, then the loud one's not. What is my goal here? My goal is to try to keep my tongue level down so that the vowel sound is still ooh, even on high notes. Okay, so that's not going to make it easy, but you have to counteract that. You don't have a lot of air coming from the lungs. You don't have a lot of tongue arch, so you got to make up for it with your aperture. The aperture has to be super small. Grip the mouthpiece. Everything goes towards the mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Go towards. Okay, almost there. Do you feel your muscles hugging the rim? That's what you should feel. That's the good feel. Whether or not you're there playing the note clearly yet or not, if you feel your muscles hugging the mouthpiece, that's the right feel. Okay, that's what you should be feeling. And you work on, like, the Brandenburg on the big horn, and then when you come back to the piccolo is going to seem like a toy that you're just taking candy from a baby or whatever. You know, it's just so easy. Yeah.
Wow.
Now, then you take it and you go to the piccolo trumpet, and then it's like so easy. a D, O, D, D. It's so easy. So switch back and forth between the horns. Adolf Hirscheth, Bud, often recommended changing the horn, but keeping the same notes for orchestral excerpt. If you're working on an excerpt, try changing the horns around, because you get a different perspective. You get a different line of sight. When you work with an audio thing, your playing goes skyrocketing. Yes, good things happen, and I love it. So I encourage you to do that. Okay, remember what I was trying to get at? I want crisp and clean Ks. Da ha da 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 da. Vibrate, spin. Yes. Okay, go for the accent. You try.
From here?
Yeah. Crisp. Louder. Molto marcato. Okay, try it again. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, but if we're playing molto marcato, what does that say about the end of the note? Nothing. It doesn't say anything about the end of the note. It only is talking about the beginning of the note. So do not necessarily translate molto marcato into play shorter.
Into separation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ba da 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 dee. Okay, let's try it again. Could we try it again with the mouthpiece? We want to be real resonant so we can be molto marcato. Okay, now you try it on the horn. Ba da da da. Okay, I think most orchestral players are going to play this a tiny bit longer here at the end, the second note of the two-note slower. Da 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 instead of da ba ba.
It's German, it's not Italian.
Dion ta da, dion ta da. Here.
Huh?
Yes, there too. The end. Da. See that note?
Yeah.
Slower there. Good. So there, the molto marcato, you get a chance to play connectedly and yet accented. But then right after, you get a chance to contrast that with very crisp articulation and very soft at the same time. Now this, I wouldn't play this long. Da da. These are. Yes. Good. Now low. Very good. I want to hear you triple forte with marcato accent. Ya da da da. Good. Go on. Da 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 da. But this is only drop down to double forte. Don't drop down to more than that. As we da 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 da. Okay, you can't drop back in dynamics that much. Too low. Too low. When you drop to the G sharp, you drop to a D sharp instead. you're connecting those notes together. That's awesome. When you see, I would like you to think about the ways that you do your accents. Here it sounded like this da dee ha da, which is fine. You play one louder and one softer, but the second note was so soft that somebody might say, hey, you know what, you're really playing a softer dynamic. What you need to be able to do for an accent is to think, okay, I've got this dynamic, and I'm going to ping the first note. The second note, I'm not going to ping it, but they're both going to be within the same dynamic, because this is really, you're leading the brass section. Da dee exactly.
Maybe
But
it's
you're
not-
playing the wrong finger.
I know.
Yes, that sounds terrific. Here, what I would like to hear you do is fill out that scale, so I can hear every note clearly, and that you're supporting the notes as you go up. Da, right? Not da, no gaps, but all good. So it has to be good fingers and good breath support. I don't care if you tongue that high note. I don't care if you tongue the D, the F. I care that you fill up the scale as you go through. Like that. Very nice, very nice. Okay, let's drop back just a little bit. Da da dee ah. Not too bad. Don't. Yes. It's so easy to get too soft too quickly, and it's so easy to play too staccato. All right. These staccatos simply mean that you separate, but don't play them too short. Not da, da, da. Okay. Here's an idea too that might help. Lean on this E, the first note of the beamed group of 30 seconds. If you can do that, that will remind your brain psychologically to fill up the air from the. Again, this is the same exact concept we were talking about right here. Right here, filling up the lower note and letting the upper notes blossom from it. Here, you're filling up the lower note, and the other notes are in between. So, stop there, get reoriented. Da.